Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inspired Disorder podcast. My name is Ray Taylor, and tonight I'm joined by...
I'm Derek Helmer.
And tonight, JAYEL AHERAM, our special guest for tonight. He is internationally known, photographer, well-published, and you can find his work at aheram.com. That's AHERAM.com. How are you doing tonight, JAYEL?
Just fine, thank you. And how are you? How are you two?
We are excellent, I think. I don't know. I'm pretty excited, actually. I'm excited tonight.
About what?
having you on the show, actually. Very cool.
Oh, okay. Well, me too. I've never done a podcast before, so this will be. Oh, wow! You just popped my podcast cherry.
Oh boy.
Excellent.
Well, for the rest of you listening whose cherries are being popped, especially for this podcast, we are a weekly art/geek culture podcast. We cover topics ranging anywhere from tech to art to movies to video games and everything in between. We typically broadcast live Tuesday night starting at around 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. However, tonight we're going a little early. And you can find that feed at inspireddisorder.com/live. And you can find the edited version of the podcast at inspireddisorder.com/podcast and in iTunes by Saturday. In tonight's episode, we are going to get to know JAYEL a little bit more and just kind of get his background and things of that nature. And then we're going to go into a little bit of discussion about digital versus analog. So what do you say we just get this show started, guys?
Couldn't think of anything better to do right now.
Couldn't either.
Get started.
Since we all have microphones in our face, let's just get it started. So, JAYEL, let's just start with your name. Shall we?
Yes.
My
name is actually it's a pseudonym.
Okay.
I made it up 10 years ago. Well, more than 10 years ago actually. And since then I've been publishing online under that name, and it got to the point where since more people know me as JAYEL AHERAM, that I finally adopted it as my professional name.
Okay.
And yeah, there you go. AHERAM is totally made up, and JAYEL is actually from my initials, J and L.
Okay.
So
where did you come up with AHERAM from?
Well, AHERAM was actually originally was supposed to be Ahern. It's Scottish for Lord of the Horses, and I love horses. Every time I see one, I squeal like horses. You know, I know. So like seriously,
Very manly thing to do.
I know. But but I tried registering Ahern as a online handle, but someone already took it.
Okay.
Apparently, it's a very common name in the United States.
Huh.
So,
Wait,
and what
JAYEL is?
No, Ahern.
Oh.
No, sorry, Ahern. Sorry,
Like-
Ahern. So one of the suggestions was Ahern, and like I don't want to be a Ahern, you know, just like Ahern, you know. So I added an extra A in there and created Ahern. So there you have it.
Sweet.
JAYEL AHERAM.
So then, what is your nationality, if I may ask?
Well, my nationality is American.
Well,
But
yeah.
my mom is half Filipina and half Spanish. My grandfather from that side is from Spain, and my dad is a blue-eyed, blonde-haired kid from Indiana, corn-fed and everything.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, that was definitely like it's a very unique name. I would say anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, so sweet. And then let's just get so your main focus is photography, but you blog and web design and things like that. Um, what was where did you get started? What started you in like the whole artistic field, as it were?
Oh, well, I can answer that. My main focus wasn't actually originally photography. It was actually web design, and from that is how I got into other things.
Hmm.
I originally coded on a even this old Macintosh. It's like black and white,
Yeah.
and I used to code on using hypertext. Sorry, HyperTalk, the or Apple Talk or something like that.
Hmm.
And that's how it's very similar the way you code on HyperCard as kind of on HTML, and they got into HTML. But that's how I got into blogging. That's how I got into photography. Was that I needed content to put on my website to justify my always creating websites.
Yeah.
I actually, that's how I got into all these creative things was through my web design. I'm a web designer first, and photography second, and a writer, third, I guess.
So when was your first website? When did you first like publish your
Oh
first website?
my God, 1990, late 1997.
Okay.
Was my first website. It was I want to say Dragon Ball Z. I want to say this is a Dragon Ball Z tribute website.
Uh-huh.
It was horrible because I had to look at it through AOL, and you know how they compress the data uh that's downloaded from the net, so my website never looked good from my side at least.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it was I used to make my website with Microsoft Word. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, with the
Wow.
little template maker, and then from there, you know, that's how I was able to learn how to code. I started looking at the source code,
Yeah.
and I was reverse engineering my website. I was starting to get into editing the website. But the thing that propelled uh my development in web design was my sister. It was competition.
Nice.
She got into web design too, and she was the first one between the two of us that started to code her website entirely using EditPad.
Okay. So
So or
longhand.
Notepad.
Yeah.
So she coded her website on Notepad, and through competition between us, we were kids. We started getting better and better at the web design, and to the point where I mean, she was awesome. She From the very get go, she was applying typography. You know, there's aesthetics into in her design,
Yeah.
and you know kind of learn from her.
So you kind of got in the bare bones of web design. Did you ever get into or use Macromedia? Now it's Adobe Dreamweaver.
Oh, I have a funny story to tell. With that one, I downloaded a copy of it, like a demo copy. I
Hmm.
opened it once, got traumatized and closed it and never looked back.
So you do everything like longhand, basically.
um, oh yes, yeah.
Okay.
You mean like Dreamweaver? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Oh no, I don't use Dreamweaver. I don't think it was out then. When it started. No. I got into editing it by longhand
yeah, yeah.
from the very beginning. Except Microsoft Word when I used it. Now, Flash. That was the story I was telling you earlier.
Flash.
So I tried using Flash,
Mm-hmm.
opening it out, trying to create one on my own, and it traumatized me. It was just
Oh, okay.
insane. It was just not intuitive. None of the controls made sense,
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure I crashed my computer once or twice trying to create something, just saving a file.
yeah,
I
yeah.
So
think Apple's liking you right about now.
I know,
Like, see,
It's like
see.
Steve Jobs is like, I told you.
I know.
Yeah. No, I've done web design myself, and I kind of started with Dreamweaver, which
Hmm.
is kind of like a WYSIWYG HTML type editing. I never really got into the code side till later, but and then I got into Flash, and Flash is like its own type of programming language.
Yeah.
And I was kind of the thing with Flash is you can kind of go into the code part of it, or you can kind of go into the animation part of it. And I had already done animation before, so I had done like a lot of my Flash stuff was animation, which ends up being really heavy because
Yeah.
you're basically doing animation. But yeah, that I could definitely understand learning like HTML and then going into Flash, and it's like just knowing English and then all of a sudden going to Japan and then like speak Japanese really
Yeah.
well in front of a class. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, the thing I like about web design is that it's not just one thing.
Hmm.
It has like all these disciplines. There's coding
Hmm.
involved. There's writing, because you need to create the copy for
Hmm.
your website. You need to create the content, the actual words for your
Yeah.
website. And there's also the graphic side of it. I mean, that's the only reason why I even got into graphic design in the first place. With digital manipulation and stuff, was I needed to create buttons for my website. I mean, the first image editing program I used was, Microsoft Paint,
Nice.
and I was creating buttons with those. I mean, it was insane. I was creating animation with MS Paint, frame by frame, until
Yeah.
I realized that I could actually use, the, Paint Shop Pro, not Photoshop, Paint Shop Pro,
Oh,
and
I remember
Animation
the
Shop.
days of Paint Shop. Oh
Oh my
yeah.
god. I was using it up until like 6 months ago. Paint
Hmm.
Shop Pro 8 until I switched to Photoshop.
Well, I remember when it came out, or when it was popular in the early '90s. Just everyone was just like, "Oh my gosh!"
It's cheaper for one thing. It's like
Oh
90
yeah.
bucks compared to like 1,000 or something
Yeah,
for Photoshop.
definitely. So what do you use like your website now? I'm assuming you designed your own website, yeah.
Hmm. Yes.
So what did you
That
use
was
to design
no,
that? Did you do it longhand or did you use software to design it?
my it's on WordPress,
Uh-huh.
and it is longhand, for the most part.
Okay.
Well, actually, the entire part. But I don't use EditPad anymore. I use a program called Espresso.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's mm, it's for designing longhand, but the way it has it though is that it can actually find. It's made for coding websites,
Yeah.
so it will tell you if you have things coded wrong, which is the great thing about it.
Yeah.
So it's longhand, but at the same time, it's actually quite good.
It's like spell check for longhand coding.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Sweet.
like for example, when I write a CSS cascading style sheet,
Yeah.
the classes are in blue, the the attributes are in red, and the variables or whatever are in green, and it does it automatically. It colors it for me, so
Yeah.
that when I read it, I can actually work quicker. But I had to my current design was actually it's on WordPress,
Uh-huh.
and that's the first time I've actually used WordPress.
Uh-huh.
Um, I thought the only way the only way I would learn how to code for WordPress was to create my own theme from scratch. It took me 100 hours to design my current design, but at the same time, it was the only way I would have advanced really quick in terms of WordPress,
Yeah.
by just getting into it and creating a theme from scratch, and it took a while.
Yeah.
I remember when you were doing that, and I don't know. Well, the actual template that you have right now, you would not believe that you coded that thing from scratch. Like it was just like so streamlined and so nice. Very.
It's also it's not simple. It's actually quite complex, and it's an actual a content management system now. It's
Hmm.
not just WordPress, but um yeah, and I spent a lot of time reading codex, the WordPress codex,
Yeah.
just looking at the documentation. Oh God,
You are hardcore.
yeah,
That's the way
So
I can describe it.
oh my God.
so how did that, I mean, you said you got into photography mainly to produce content for your websites. So where did you start with photography? Like what did you use when you started out?
I had I first started with my camera phone. I
Hmm.
had one of the first generations camera. I was living in Japan this time, and had one of the first generations camera phone. It produced a 144 by 60 image. That was the
Extremely
camera
high
phone.
resolution.
I know, right? That was high
Early
res.
days. Yeah.
That was high res. That's how I started. Just taking photo and putting it in my blog. And then one day in March, it was March 10, 2005. I woke up one day. I was like, I need to do something creative. And up to that point, I was taking photographs with my camera phone. Um, and I thought about doing painting for a little bit, but then I looked around, and I was living in Tokyo at this time. I was like, you know what? I don't think this is gonna work because I was living in an apartment with my parents, and it was gonna be messy, and I didn't want to be messy, and I didn't have enough room in my own place to have an easel, and it sounded really, really messy. That's why I keep saying messy, because
It's messy.
it's a small place.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a small room. Um, and that's when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get myself a camera. But I didn't just buy any camera. I went to the exchange, the store, and looked at each of the camera. I listed what they are, went back home, and looked it up at digital photography review, dpreview.com, and researched for 2 weeks
Hmm.
and and research which one I wanted, and I finally decided to go with a Canon PowerShot G6, also known as Cat's Eye, and my nickname for my camera. And I started taking photographs. Taking photographs, but then like 7 months later, I was in the Marine Corps. So
So the power shot, it was, which one was it? The G6?
Canon,
Is that what
yeah, G6, yes, with the flip screen.
okay, so was that like, it was a point and shoot, but was like the mid grade point and shoot, right? Like it
Yeah,
was.
it was considered a high-end point and shoot. It's a prosumer camera.
Yeah,
That's what they call
prosumer.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the megapixel on that camera? Do you remember?
Six, I believe six
Okay.
or seven. Let me check. Oh, it's a little bit more than my Nikon, so it's like 7.0, I believe.
Okay. That's good.
Um, which produce, I mean, it's enough to create prints. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same digital file I use to create my prints for my shows.
Hmm.
So, and in fact, most of the work I have exhibited is from that camera, uh, a
Okay.
point and shoot.
So what size prints do you do?
I have the original ones I did was 8x10s,
Okay.
and then 11, but the same and then I had 11x14s for my second exhibition. My first exhibition only had 8x10s.
Mhm.
My second exhibition had 11x14s, and then by my third exhibition I was going at 20x30
Okay.
um size prints, and the thing is the original files weren't big enough
Hmm.
uh, to uh, to to be to withstand that kind of resizing.
Yeah.
So I actually had to go to on Photoshop and slowly resize the file
Hmm.
and biggen them so that they'll be able to withstand um that kind of printing at that size.
Yeah. So when you got into it, was there anything that did you have draw from any inspiration when you first started shooting, or was there like a certain subject matter that you would shoot when you first started taking pictures?
Yes, I avoided people. Originally,
Yeah.
I did not want to do portraits. It was kind of I was still kind of getting used to the idea of even having a camera in my hand, and I felt awkward holding it and pointing it at people.
Yeah.
I didn't, I'm not shy or anything, but it was just since I was living in Japan at that time, it seemed kind of unduly rude to
Yeah.
just pointing at their face and take photographs, and I
Is that
felt that.
something, is that something like more of the culture over there, that's something that you just kind of don't do?
Yeah, because yeah, exactly. In fact, I believe you can go into jail if you don't stop taking. Or if someone complains, you can actually get in trouble,
I see.
or because it's like a violation of privacy or something like that. So,
Interesting.
um, I avoided taking photographs of people, and I, probably took photographs of flowers, and I go on trips like to Kamakura and Shinjuku and the other one, and take photographs of the buildings, and it was, I mean, I had some decent photos, but the people are more interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't really get into photography until I actually got deployed to Iraq.
Mhm.
Because then I had it was my focus.
When you went to Iraq, you were planning on taking pictures even before you got there, I imagine, right? Like that was kind of
Yeah,
going.
yeah. I brought my camera with me. And it wasn't a plan. It was like everyone had cameras.
Mhm.
I just happened to have
Yeah.
a better than camera than most people when I was out there. Um, but I turned into photography as a more like a necessity.
Mhm.
So
Was it like a means of escape for you while you were over
yeah,
there?
it's like my it was my sole creative outlet. I had I was primarily a writer before I got into photography. Like I said, you know, I took up photography to supplement my blogging. I
Mhm.
was still writing, and the only reason I was taking photographs was to have images to kind of spice up my blog posts. And when I got deployed, I didn't have time to write. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
I had more time to take photographs, and one thing led to another.
Mm-hmm. I see. And having the camera over there, was that like, I've heard people mention, that it becomes like a filter, like, you filter your reality. If you're just taking pictures, that the things that you're seeing aren't quite so horrible, that it kind of separates you. Was that a case for you while you were over there? Like,
It was yes, kinda, but for me it was more like uh it forced me to look at the world around me,
mm-hmm.
and basically find, I mean, it's that place sucked. I'll tell you, Aaron. It was like, it was like 29 Palms except worse. Um it's like it was really cold and miserable, and a lot of people just grew to hate that place, and that's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what the camera allowed me to do was to allowed me to basically stop and smell the roses, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because when there are things out there that was just amazing, like the night sky, for example. Amazing. Just there's so many stars, and you have to understand. I lived in Tokyo for 3 to 4 years, and you don't see that many stars out there. I live in cities most of my life, and
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, cities most of my life, and I never see that kind of night sky.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's hard. Like growing up in Joshua Tree and everything. You get kind of used to the stars. But so even more than
Yeah.
29 Palms and everything, like it's even more greater brilliance of stars in Iraq.
Yes. Yes. Because even trying on Palms, I mean, you still have
Light
the,
sources and stuff.
the light sources, like what's that freeway on the north that goes all the way to Vegas.
Oh, the 15.
Yeah, so yeah, there's the 15
Or
I
and
mean,
yeah,
it's
247
yeah,
and all that.
7, and then I mean it's I mean, there's still some light pollution.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And out there isn't, because I mean they don't have electricity.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and it's lights out too, so.
So
Yeah.
so you kind of when was the point where you figured that this is, I mean, is this your main passion now? Is photography your main passion, or are you still passionate about other things?
Photography is not my main passion.
Okay.
I am passionate about other things, and it's just photography is just a big part of it. I love taking photographs of people, primarily because um who I take photographs of. It's my friends
Hmm.
and the people that I know I take photographs of. That's why I enjoy it. It's showing them, it's showing people that the people that I like, and the people that I respect, and showing them in who they really are. And I don't know, it's just, I find that fun. But web design is my is an equal, almost an equal passion with photography.
Uh-huh.
I love. I mean, I was working on my website last night.
Hmm.
I mean, it's a constant thing. It's like every week I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Um, and just in the theory, for example, like a user interface. Like I like reading that. Any of you guys read A List Apart?
No.
No, actually. Not to
Oh,
say that I'm not
so
a
good.
reader, but I haven't read that.
It's so good. An online magazine for people who make websites. That's their subtitle. Not
Nice.
web designers, but people who make websites, which is I just find amazing because, you know, that that's who I am. I'm not just a web designer. I just don't design websites. I create everything from the back end to the front end to the content to maintaining it to creating the promotion of it. It's
Hmm.
everything. I mean, you, Derek, you make websites. You're not
Mm-hmm.
just a designer. You
Right.
do everything for it. So that's what the online magazine is about, is and who the target audience is, who writes for it, who they write for, what they write about is for people who do everything in the website.
So it's really geared towards not just the commercial type websites, but bloggers essentially. That when
Not
you're a
just not
blogger, you kind of you take care of everything.
I know a lot of bloggers that don't design their own
Yeah.
thing. Um,
Just
Yeah,
on
there's a
so,
blogger.com.
lot of
So
bloggers have
blogspot.
no idea what CSS even means
yeah.
or HTML. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
True.
But
True.
so it's
Okay, I'll
like
give you that.
it's more like instead of just knowing one piece of the puzzle, it's knowing the whole puzzle and how it's put together. Is that
Mhm.
correct? Building the website from the content to the back end, like programming it and just knowing like somebody who knows how to build a car. Like a lot of
Yeah.
bloggers just know how to drive a car, but
Mhm.
somebody who creates a website could in fact build the car
build
if
the
they
engine, build the
exactly.
engine, build the
Yeah.
tires, paint the car.
Yeah.
You build the design for the car and paint it and then race it.
Yeah.
That'll be the analogy. Someone who
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
does
very
everything.
Okay.
So
So are there well, I guess then changing gears again, what
oh
what websites that are there on the or I guess, like are you familiar with dig.com and
yes.
sites like
Oh
that? Are there sites out there that have a lot of new things like the web 2.0, I guess you could say? Are there sites out there that really inspire you to like push farther?
that's one of the websites I list apart. Let me see. Let me check my list.
Yeah,
Um,
your favorites are your telltale signs.
Oh
Where
yeah,
you're
oh
Yeah.
totally, totally. I have this thing just called CSS/HTML. Um, a lot of the stuff that the people do in WordPress, the WordPress people,
Hmm.
the WordPress Foundation, I guess now that
Mhm.
um I read what they do. Kottke, Jason Kottke,
Uh-huh.
Kottke.org, the first blogger, kind of.
Okay.
Well, not really the
Really?
first blogger, but
Hmm.
the first. Well, he actually invented permalinks. Jason
Oh
Kottke.
wow.
Yeah, Kottke. He Kottke.org, and what he does is he was one of the first people that basically posted random bits of information and linking to other things. Kind of like what Boing Boing does,
Yeah.
except
Mhm.
Jason Kake was the first one who have done it. In fact, I believe, yeah. Um, so that's one thing, and he just he what he does he focuses on design and something to do with website, but other things, so like music and art and really awesome articles that he finds.
Hmm.
Not like just like Ron Paul articles or anything. I find that cool. Sorry.
No, no, no.
But,
That's awesome. Oh, I mean, the thing about this show is that it's for every type of geek.
Exactly.
Like
yeah,
we don't have a
I'm a type.
niche.
I'm a type. I love. That's the name. I love typography.com.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Okay, okay.
yeah. So yeah, but that's God, there's so many websites. They're so cool.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, Kake.org is definitely one of my source of
Your
inspiration.
inspiration.
As is a list apart.
Awesome. So I guess getting back into the whole photography thing, um, what like the pictures? You're still taking pictures, I'm assuming, or Or
I'm taking
no?
a break a
Okay.
little bit. I'm going through a transition right now,
Uh-huh.
and I think that's normal.
Yeah.
The last time I went through a transition was going from a civilian into the Marine Corps. I took like 8 months off
Yeah.
from photography, and it's just the issue of finding my voice again.
Mhm.
Right now, I don't know what my voice is. So right now I'm kind of taking a break from photography, but I know for a fact that I will get that itch again. I'm gonna start taking photographs again.
Okay. So what camera are you using, or were you using last, I guess I should say? Or were you using was it primarily your point and shoot camera that you talked about earlier?
Now I've been since 2008,
Mhm.
since early 2008, I've been using my Nikon D40,
Okay.
which is a gift from Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay.
She
Yeah,
sent
explain
me
that.
as
Explain that, because that's
Yeah.
an
oh yeah,
interesting story.
yeah. I think that's it's a more like surreal story
Yeah,
actually.
There's
little
not a
bit.
whole lot of people that like, hey, I got a camera from Rosie O'Donnell.
Yeah.
All right.
Um.
So how did you come about knowing about Rosie O'Donnell?
Oh. Well, it was on Flickr. It was through Flickr. It was during this time where she was kind of staying at home, and so she was really active online, blogging and going on Flickr or whatever. And I submitted my photograph to a group, the March 17 anti-war group. And the thing is, I was still in Iraq at this time. Okay.
Mhm.
Submitting
I like
my
that. Yeah, you're in this anti-war group. And you're over there in the war.
yeah,
Yeah.
Flickr. Yeah, and I was
Well, that
still
would
in
make
Iraq at that
sense.
time. So I've submitted one of my photographs to this group. Well, it turns out it was actually moderated by Rosie O'Donnell, and that's how she came to find my work on there. And through Lori Seed, which is her friend and a longtime a bleed producer.
Mhm.
They contacted me and they used my photograph on the blog post, and she put in she set it to a music video. There was like a slideshow, and next thing I know, we were corresponding. And then 2008, she decided to give me a camera to take better photographs with, um, for my as a deployment gift. So it's kind of surreal getting
Yeah.
that package. I was on the ship. I was in a ship,
Mhm.
and kind of like I'm like wake up one morning, there's like all the mail. There was a mail call, and I got this box, and it says to JL Love Rose. And like, what the? I mean, I was kind of expecting. I knew she was gonna, she was sending me something, but it
Like
was
just
still
a care
weird.
package of just something
Yeah, it
from
was.
home.
Yeah,
Something. Yeah.
it was a care
Yeah.
package. So I got that.
You get it. You're like, crap. I got no way of like importing my photos on the ship. You know.
Oh no! Because I already had the what the hell is it? We call an SD card reader built into
Okay.
the laptop, so I was able to actually transfer photos.
Okay.
Yay!
Because
So there's
that would be the worst feeling. You get this awesome camera, and then you're just like, well, I guess it's just gonna sit in the box for the remainder of the voyage
Yeah.
until like.
It's like a
No, she actually
256.
sent. Yeah, she actually sent she actually included the SD card in it in the
Nice.
package. So that was very thoughtful of her.
I can just see you like going door to door in Baghdad, just like, okay, I need one of these. All right.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah,
yeah,
that's amazing.
so that was kind of weird. And the thing is though, like even while I was even in Iraq, you have to understand I was just a PFC. I was a private basically,
Mhm.
and you know I was basically PFC nobody.
Mhm.
I mean, half the time, I felt worthless. Going through while I was there, um, and then you have people basically paying attention to you because I was actively blogging my experience on Flickr. I
Mhm.
had the photograph with my narrative in it, and I was doing that primarily for my friends and family. I was doing it for my friends and family, because it was the most quickest, most efficient way of communicating with them
Yeah.
was through Flickr. So,
Well, that's cool that you got
but
time to actually upload stuff while you were out there.
I don't actually.
Yeah.
I didn't actually. I had 30 minutes, or 30 minutes, internet 30 minutes of internet access.
Hmm.
Um, and then I have to give up the computer. So whatever uploads I have to do, it needs to be quick because the connection was really slow. It was painfully slow. So I had to resize all my photographs before, and then I transfer to a USB stick, and then I go to the internet center. I plug in the USB stick, and I have actually Firefox on there on my USB installed in my USB stick,
Uh-huh.
so I can just plug it in, and automatically flickers there with all my information. So then I had to like retype everything because that
Mm.
seems kind of unsafe. Um, and I was able to upload these photographs online or whatever, and I actually pre-typed my email, um, uh, on the notepad on my laptop, transfer
Mm.
to USB stick, and then go to the internet center and send it because you only have 30 minutes, and sometimes it takes 10 minutes to access Gmail because it's
Yeah.
so slow.
I see.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes into that HTML mode thing like automatically because it detects that it's just too slow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, that would be horrible.
Yeah. It was like living the it was like a modem speed. It was horrible.
Oh man.
Flashbacks.
For
Yeah.
us geeks, like forget all the other deprivations you're enduring while you're out there. But when you take away our internet, for crying
Oh
out
my
loud.
god, it's horrible.
Or you
Sometimes,
take it away and then you just give it back, but it's really fucking slow.
yeah,
It's horrible.
Or you would
Yeah.
you would just prefer not to go without.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
frustrating. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Um Sweet. So were there any, like, did you have any photographers? I mean, I know you kind of just came into it for just creating content and things like that, but are there, or were there, or are there now any photographers that you kind of look to for inspiration or kind of draw from?
Mm,
Or like maybe not
no.
photographers in general, but maybe places to see pictures that kind of inspire you, or no?
Um. Yeah. In terms of my photography, um, like I don't have any like I don't really have inspiration. Like I don't copy any style or emulate any
Yeah.
or anyone. But I like certain photographs. I love photojournalists, like stuff that I see in the newspapers, for example.
Mhm.
That's I connect to that more because it's more real or whatever. But Richard Avedon, I like his work. Um, I don't think I'm inspired by him, but I do like his work.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I started to study like look like research the photographers of the past. Ansel, there's Ansel Adams, the popular guys,
Yeah.
and then Henry Cartier-Bresson, you know he's good. I like him. But for the most part, there aren't that many photographers that, like, at least the old popular ones that I really
Yeah.
look up to.
Okay.
um and it's always been, that's I guess that's my one weakness, really, is that it's I don't listen to my elders.
Yeah.
you know so it's I guess I've always been that way. I like doing my own thing.
Well,
And
sometimes like having like a fresh eye on things is
yeah,
sometimes the best way.
yeah, but
Uh,
sometimes you can learn from other people,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I just haven't had the time or the opportunity to learn from the masters.
yeah.
And I would like to learn from the masters someday.
Hmm. So, have you had any like formal art training as far as like composition or anything like that, or is
Nope.
it? It's just kind of just
No,
just
I
Not
don't.
one.
okay,
Not one.
awesome.
What nothing no formal training,
Uh-huh.
but I've had 12 years of experience
Yeah,
in layout and graphic design, and a lot of the things I learned in composition, for example, um like like the rules of thirds or whatever, which I just found out like 2 years ago, what it
hmm,
um was came from creating wallpapers and avatars and icon, like live journal icons.
yeah,
And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the the things I learned, like composition wise, I learned in graphic design, I was able to apply in photography.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I
It's
mean,
amazing where you pick some of the stuff up. You know,
being
Just
yeah,
like,
being
you
able
never
to
know
apply
what you're gonna learn from doing something the most simplest task. You know that you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
mean, with art, it's like if you kind of get to know one aspect of it, and you're smart enough, you can apply what you know from one aspect to the other
exactly.
aspects, and it's kind of like a lot of people say, learning a second language. Once you learn the second language, being able to learn, like a third and a fourth is just
Exactly.
that much easier.
Oh, exactly.
So,
That's one of the reasons why I have a kind of like an affinity for languages.
mhm.
I'm able to pick up languages really quick because of well, there's the fact that I know two languages, but because of learning to code.
Yeah.
Because learning, like, for example, I remember having to I wanted to code something in Visual Basic or ViviScript or something like that,
Mhm.
and I don't know anything about ViviScript. In fact, I like right now I've completely forgotten whatever it is that I needed to learn. Um, but I wanted to code something in ViviScript for this text-based game that I play and still play. Um, so I went in, looked at the documentation, and was able to create a spell duration script that detected how long a spell is and remember how long, like the variables or whatever. And I
Mhm.
was able to create this script in 8 hours. And then of course I completely forgot what it is
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
learned. And I'm able to learn old languages, no matter if they're artificial or like actual human languages. So.
Awesome. Yeah, so one of my thoughts on art is that it's just a form of communication.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
so that's why I think it applies to people learning other languages. It's like when you get like the basics, the fundamentals of language and communication, it's easily applied to other forms of that communication. So, yeah, totally. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just move on to, since I mean, it sounds like you're primarily digital. Your
Yes.
photographic history, as well as just everything else, is
Yeah.
extremely digital, from coding and everything else.
I'm a
Um,
digital native.
so being noticed as a photographer, and being in shows and things like that, have you ever come across people that they the photography purists, some people call them?
Yes.
Have you ever come across people that give you crap basically for using digital?
Not only that, but if I tell them that I'm using a Canon PowerShot G6, it's like
Yeah.
their view of like of the work that they're looking at, they like,
Uh-huh.
but their view of it suddenly changes from something to like art to like, it's a snapshot,
This is a
Yeah.
kid. This is a
it's a
kid taking
kid,
this.
It's just
like
pixels.
what's the difference? I tell
Yeah.
people it's not it's not about the tool. It's how you use it,
Yeah. It's just another type of tool. Um,
Exactly.
Do I
so
tell you what kind of brush to use?
yeah,
Yeah. I know
exactly.
exactly. I use this very special badger brush, made from badger hair.
So when you develop your pictures digitally, what
Yes.
kind of process do you go through? Do you just like basically you just take them, upload them, that's it, or do you do any
Oh
kind of?
no, God no.
Okay.
What comes out of the camera is never,
Yeah.
never, never, never what I intend, what I saw in the first place.
Yeah.
So I need to force, and then I need to process the image in order to to retain my artistic integrity.
Hmm.
A lot of camera purists, for example, and they annoy me. Uh, Consider what comes out of the camera as pure. No, it's not. What comes out of the camera is what the designer of that camera wants the photo to look like. So instead of going to Photoshop or PaintShop Pro and editing the photo to so that it's your vision, you're just you know allowing the camera designer to basically take the photograph for you. You know.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, it's the camera, the lenses, and also just the film itself, like how that film reacts to the light that is, bouncing off of it. So there's so many variables to it. And even then, you take the film, and what do? Like professional photographers, they go into a dark room where they manipulate the photo or the negatives even further.
And that's processing. So
Yeah,
why
exactly.
can't if a film photographer does it in the dark room, what's the difference between a dark room and, you know, I mean, basically taking a digital image and just uploading what it is like straight from the camera is the same as if you take a photograph and drop it off at Kodak, processing center, and letting those kids there process your photo for you.
Yeah.
You know. So I like from like I said, because my background is digital graphic design. I never had it was never a second thought to you basically you know check whatever like the photographs I have and post process it. Now, what my post processing is very minimal. I mean, I don't like composite, people's faces and
Yeah.
put it in someone's body or anything like that.
You just levels and things
It'll
like
be
that.
funny though.
Yeah.
It'll be funny to do that. But what I do though, I do an digital equivalent of bleach bypass and something. It's like an Orton technique. It's very gimmicky if it's overdone, but I do it uh, for my black and whites because I like the way the highlights and the shadow look with that. So I do a blending of that of bleach bypass and or digital equivalent of bleach bypass and Orton technique, and do a combination of both. So that's why a lot of my photographs, well, most of my photographs have a consistent look. Even though they're all of different subject, they have the same kind of hues. It's a very rich brown. The highlights are kind of the same, like in black and whites. Well, some black and whites, some of them aren't. I'm looking at my some of my old Iraq photographs, and I know for a fact that I never did the Orton technique with that one.
So do you
scratch it? Forget
it. just a little side note. Do you prefer doing black and white or color? I mean, from what I've seen, most of your stuff is in color, but I've seen a few black and whites that you've done. Is there anything that you prefer?
No, I don't. It's
Whatever
per
fits.
image. It's per image. If the colors, for example, if the colors help the image, then I retain the color.
Yeah.
If the color is a liability, then I remove the color and just make it black and white, so that then it becomes just about the subject. Like I took a photograph of my friend Isaac, and it's a portrait of him. It's called "In Shades of Black, a Redo," and he was standing right in front of a very pink, very, 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 very pink wall. Now, in some cases, you can work with that and make a very, very colorful pink photograph.
Yeah.
But I thought that was distracting because I want them to focus on Isaac, not the very, very, very pink wall.
Yeah.
It was really pink. So I turned into a black and white photograph because he was distracting.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
It's
very good to hear. Like when I was thinking of things to talk about for this episode, I know a lot of photographers. Like there's a friend of mine's in art school right now for photography, and then I've been doing I've started with film, and then obviously I've gone into digital just because it's way easier for so many reasons. But there's been I'll take shots and then I'll throw them into Photoshop, and I'm only adjusting like levels. I'm doing really basic adjustments. I'm not doing like crazy filters or anything like Photoshop style filters. But people will go like crazy just saying like that they're totally manipulated. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it annoys the hell out of me, which a lot of the basic features in Photoshop are basic fundamental things that you could do in a dark room, like burning and like changing
dodging,
saturation and dodging and all those sorts of things. It's just way easier and way more precise in Photoshop.
Yeah. I think it's coming to a point where digital will inevitably become superior to film.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way that the technology is heading towards. And there's the issue too of just you know you're it's the cost benefit of it.
Hmm.
You're creating more images in digital, so you have a potential to find amazing masterpieces
Yeah.
rather than going as on film, you know. And
Yeah.
I suppose you can make an argument that with film you're more likely to think more about your shot or whatever, but
Mhm.
not every shot is can be planned.
Well, but at the
You know,
same time, it's like when you shoot with film, there's no way to preview your shot. You don't know what you. I mean, you have an idea. You
yeah,
get used to things, and when you overexpose, underexpose, different apertures, different ISOs, all that different stuff, you get used to it, but you don't know exactly what it looks like until it's developed. Whereas
yeah,
digital, you can instantaneously, for the most part, see at least the composition of
yeah.
what you shot. I mean, it's like I can compare it
You
to
can
like
then and you can experiment more.
exactly. Yeah, you can, do, it's like, well, maybe the shot would look better if it was overexposed a bit. And then there's the whole HDR thing. Have you ever experimented with that at all? The
HDR.
high dynamic range?
No, I haven't. That seems kind of like I looked into it and it's
Uh-huh.
like it sounds overly complicated.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a lot. I mean, it's been done with film, but basically,
yeah,
you kind of take a picture, three pictures. I think you can use more, but it's like three pictures. One's underexposed, one's mid, and one's overexposed, and you kind of combine them to kind of get a level. Um,
like what you see with your own eyes, basically.
Almost more than that because
Yeah,
like things, there's a lot more detail in the shadows, and then there's a lot more detail in where there would be blown out highlights, so it's almost fake looking, like you'd
it's
see
very
it.
fake looking.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with HDR photography.
Yeah.
We have it's a very popular in Flickr.
Yeah.
Um, both as as a style, as a technique,
Hmm.
and as a subject of derision.
Yeah.
Um, but like it's like just a tool though. I'm not I don't jump on the
Okay.
HDR hating bandwagon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen some really spectacular HDR images, but I also have seen extremely awful
Yeah.
HDR images too.
Yeah.
So
Well, just the same with everything. But
exactly.
yeah.
There's a potential to abuse it, just like just anything really.
Yeah. So, kind of diverging off the still, non-moving images, what are you guys' thoughts on? There's a huge movement now, especially in movie theaters, where they're going from 35 millimeter projectors to digital.
Oh,
Uh,
like
what do you guys think of? I mean, there's been movies filmed in digital for a while, and then obviously transferred into 35 millimeter. Pretty much every movie goes through a digital process where they do color correction and things like that. But what do you guys think of the whole digital movie theater experience? And Derek, why don't we start with you since you're in the trenches, as it were?
Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, it's kind of a double-edged sword that
Mm.
it's something I really would like to push for going digital and, making that kind of just the norm. Personally, I think it's a much better quality. I mean, if you sit up close enough, you're going to see a lot of artifacts in the picture, in the screen, which is very distracting. But from the right distance, you're getting a much brighter image, generally, and even more than IMAX. I've seen some digital films that are just they blow me away. But so as much as I'm all about the technology and moving forward. And it'd be kind of sad to leave film behind. There'd be no more splicing or anything like that. Which is a skill that I'm happy to have. But as much as I would really love to push it forward, that kind of eliminates the need for projectionists.
Yeah.
So me being in that department, it would be, it would just be, okay, I got to start the show and then press play and then leave, and then that's the end of that, and you have nothing to do.
You don't even need to have a projection booth. You can do it like I bet they'll make an iPhone app from that for like the
exactly. You're just in the box office, just collecting cash.
Play.
I got to start that show. All right. So it'll, I'm sure that the way the projectionist is going, not that I intended it to make it like a lifelong dream or anything, but yeah, it's just kind of sad that, its days are, yeah, it's I feel like a cowboy. I'm a cowboy, and it's in my ranch. There's no more need for me anymore.
So what do you think about the whole thing, Jail?
Like I said, it's most things are inevitably moving towards basically digital.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I'm worried about though is as with anything is that digital is very it doesn't last very long. Unless you put it like, I guess, in terms of archiving, I mean, we're, like, even USB sticks don't last very long. CDs don't last very long. DVDs don't last very long. Blu-rays don't last very long.
Yeah.
It seems to me that there is a very clear danger that, once if, majority of our culture is on digital,
Mm-hmm.
there will come a point where there was something's going to happen where all that will vanish in a single day, because I mean something will just a virus or something. If everything is digital, then digital viruses can potentially wreak havoc to it.
Well, at the same time, I mean, like film degrades it degrades over time as well.
But it lasts a little bit longer though.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And then you can protect film. There's a physical copy.
Yeah. Well, but at the same time, it's transferring or copying bits over is a lot easier than making copies of film. Or restoring film. I mean, making a digital copy is about as easy as Control-C, Control-V.
Yeah.
From one, but yeah, I can see how it's kind of a thing where as analog stuff like film can degrade over time, digital can be wiped away in an instant. Yeah.
I mean, like books, for example, books last a very long time. I mean, once, what if everything comes in ebook form? PDF files or whatever. I mean, just that's our culture. We're gonna have, history. I mean, the Rosetta Stone, for example, was found. It was like created like 3,000 years ago. Was found or discovered, or whatever. And the reason why that part of our history was unlocked was because of the Rosetta Stone, was the form it came in.
Mm-hmm.
It was chiseled into stone. Stone lasts a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, are we gonna have are we depriving future generations of that, of basically rediscovering their history?
Yeah,
because
but all
the stuff we create is just
how many copies of the Rosetta Stone are there? There's one, right?
Just one.
Yes, but I mean, as far as like ebooks, there's so much redundancy as far as how many people would have it, or there would be a copy floating around somewhere, unless will
it last 3,000 years though? That is the question.
That's true. You could have said something about the stone too. I mean, stones crumble over time. I mean, something could have fallen on that stone and it would have been gone in an instant as well.
But the fact that it lasted, why? Yeah. Because it's stone.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Degradable. It's not electrons that degrade within 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's very true. I don't know. Sorry. It's a good point. It's a good point that we could lose a lot.
But that's not a reason to stop going.
To not do it.
Whatever. I'm a little bit of a singularist. Eventually, we're gonna come to that point where technology and people and civilization will just come to a point into this singularity and become cyborgs or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. Man and machine.
I agree.
Man and machine.
And we'll all be
Google.
run by Google.
I know.
With the Google chip
Yeah,
implanted.
exactly. We'll have the human view instead of just the street view.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Go ahead.
That's interesting. What's that about?
I don't know. I just came up with it.
I can see it. I can see it happening. Just
Yeah.
I want to see what Jail's seeing right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is we're 2 steps away. Wait a couple months and I'm sure it'll be there.
I would love to have a Google chip so I can just Google everything. It's like my second brain. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember like half of the stuff that we're so overloaded with information that I mean like half the stuff that the stuff that we forget is more than most people knew like 100 years ago.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's just I'm just so thankful that Google exists. So it's like, I wonder how many meters is in how many feet is in a meter. I don't have to remember that stuff. I just Google it. You know.
Yeah, or you have an app on your iPhone and
Yeah, exactly.
it'll give you like you'll convert one measurement into 10 different types of measurements and you're good. Yeah, all the things that you had to remember in the past are just things that you can easily reference today.
Like multiplication tables. I mean, my little brother never had to learn it. And that pisses me off because
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
they
that's
don't need to.
well, that's almost
Have
the same
fun.
with coding. I mean, a lot of people don't. A lot of people can design websites without having to know any HTML.
I'll
all.
raise my hand to that. I don't know a damn thing about it, you know, but I can go on to Squarespace and create my blog. Yes.
Although if something goes wrong, then you're kind of screwed.
Oh, indeed. Yeah.
You're like, why isn't it working? Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Moving on.
I was just gonna move on before we get into our inspired recommendations for the week. You have some upcoming shows going on, specifically in the desert area.
Yes, I'm having an art show at Starbucks Coffee at Sunrise at the Starbucks at Sunrise and Ramon this Friday, March 5th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I know Derek is working during that time.
Naturally, always. I never get to come to anything because I'm always working.
I know. But having that art show and the entire month of March, I think the entire month of March, my work will be exhibited in a multi-store, multi-city exhibition featuring several Starbucks locations.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that, and I'm gonna be interviewed on KPSP Local 2 next Thursday for like a 3-minute interview or something.
Excellent.
So,
Sweet.
Moving on up.
yeah, I know. Oh, did they tell you about that Yoko Ono thing yet?
No, yeah.
Oh my God!
Explain.
Yeah.
My work just got praised by Yoko Ono like last week, so I just got the email about that. So that's kind of interesting.
Just keep bragging over there, JL.
What was the situation for that? Like, where did she see your work and what did she say and stuff like that?
It was my friend Michael Agostino works with the singer Sam Harris, who's also my friend. And Sam Harris, Michael Agostino created this YouTube video, which actually can be seen on YouTube, of Sam Harris' rendition of Imagine. You know, John Lennon's Imagine.
Yeah.
With my photography in a slideshow format. Not slideshow. Well, it is a slideshow format, but it's more like a Ken Burns effect. Yeah. It's actually quite good. And Yoko Ono. I mean, because they're married or something. John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Something like
that. Back in the day when he was alive.
When he was alive.
Yeah.
And she saw this video on YouTube. She cried. She emailed, Sam Harris, and nice enough to mention, me in her email that she thought my photographs made a strong point. So that was kind of cool.
Sweet.
Very interesting. Yeah.
It's surreal. It's still weird. I'm still kind of used to the concept.
So from Rosie O'Donnell to Yoko Ono.
Huh?
What was that?
That people like my work. It's I'm very contrarian, like a little bit, just in terms of my personality, and I'm just used to people disagreeing with me
Mm-hmm.
because my views out there are kind of extreme,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that people are liking my work, I find that it's hard to get used to, even to this day, because it's like what? Wait, what? You agree with me that like
Yeah.
no way,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, that's
So
the great
it's
thing about the internet, that you can publish yourself, you can get out there and get seen, and no matter how bizarre your views are or you think they are, there's always somebody else out there that
yeah.
Yeah.
can identify and agree. So
And
it's
you'll
quite
also
a tool.
find the people that disagree.
Oh, and yeah, there'll be plenty more of that than the
Yeah.
other, but
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
it's nice
sweet.
to know
So,
it's a
the Starbucks on Ramon and Sunrise,
Sunrise.
and that's Friday. So, this show comes out. Although I'm gonna try and edit this show and get it out by Thursday. So, the early listeners of this, if you're in the Coachella Valley area, go to Ramon and Sunrise Starbucks and check out uh, Jail's work for sure, and go to his website.
It's for a good cause too. It's to benefit this nonprofit organization called Soldiers Organized Services.
Awesome.
Um,
what's that
so-
about? What you want to explain a little bit about
oh,
what that?
they provide free transportation for Marines and their families from the airport to the base because I mean taxi just um I paid it one time. It was expensive.
Yeah.
It was like $100-$200. So
Wow.
for a taxi cab from the airport to Palm Springs. Oh, sorry, Palm Springs to 29 Palms.
Uh,
So
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. All right.
I'd walk at
Yeah.
that price.
I've been humping. I've been humping all week anyway, so I might as well just let's go a little bit further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's just move on into our inspired recommendations for the week. This is the section where we recommend whatever it is that we're into at the moment. It could be an iPhone app, software, gadget, movie, video game, book, magazine, website. It doesn't matter. Just whatever it is we are into for the week. We just want to recommend something to our listeners. Let's just start with our guest, JL. What's your
Um.
recommendation for the week?
Oh, CameraBag on your iPhone app. Um. It's allows you to post process your camera phone images into like different like processing styles like Helga, color cross, Lolo. I have no idea what that is. Magazine, instant, mono, 1962, 1974, cinema, infrared, fisheye, and and then the thing is though you can also like process it one way and then process it another way and just build on top of that, and it's very just it allows you to create semi masterpieces with your iPhone, which is
Awesome.
kind of cool.
And
Just a simple touch.
do you happen
Yeah,
to
I
know
know.
what the price is on that by chance?
I have no idea. Let me check.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. It's
So
probably like
It's
$1.
it's very cheap. I think it's like $1.99.
okay.
Like
Yeah.
something
Well, if
like
you
that.
go to the show notes at inspireddisorder.com/podcast for this episode, there'll be a link to that application as well as the price.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of CameraBag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used it a lot, and it's
Sweet.
so simple. I mean, they're just presets, but oh my gosh, your pictures look so much better instantly as soon as you just apply that.
$1.99.
Oh,
$1.99.
there you go. $1.99.
Yes.
Sweet. All right, Derek. What's your inspired reco
All right.
for the week?
Following Jail's lead here, another iPhone app which I've had it for a while, but this is like my first step. Like every picture I take, I tend to apply this to it. Is TiltShift generator,
Okay.
which is their fake DSLR. Oh my gosh, I love TiltShift images. I love like the little miniature looking photography. Like the really really weird depth of field that just kind of you focus on one thing.
Is that for the 3GS or what?
It looks like it works on all. So
Oh
I
wow.
think
Generator.
it's it doesn't say that it's just 3GS, but yeah, TiltShift generator. It's 99 cents. Um, and pretty much all my images are becoming generic because I just like I'm so in love with this app that every picture I post now is just like it's got some sort of tilt shift to it. Between that and just having vignettes
Yeah.
on the edges, so it's like yeah, you can tell it's a Derek Helmer image when just you can
Nice.
only see like one little tiny bit of the picture in focus, but yeah, tilt shift generator,
Well,
very cool.
it's your
99 cents.
style, man.
I'm buying it
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I guess I'm gonna diverge from the whole theme as far as
Yeah. Don't
cameras and
worry about it.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's actually a TV show. A buddy of mine recommended to me. It's on FX, but I've been watching it on Hulu. So far, the first 4 episodes have been released. It's called Archer, and it is hilarious. It's like a short, I think it's like half-hour long show, and just the
It's
humor.
animation, right?
Yeah. And it's totally like adult type animation because the themes are very adult, but it's so funny. It's like such quick wit, such quick humor. Like I've had to watch the episodes multiple times just so I can get all of the jokes and stuff like that. Uh, there's if either of you guys or anybody listening is a fan of Arrested Development, the mom in Arrested Development is also one of the characters, the main characters. She kind of plays a similar character, but it's totally funny. It's basically Archer is like a spy, kind of like a not like CIA, but almost like a third party type organization in the U.S. and like small time. Like their headquarters is above a fluff and fold like laundromat type place, and they have a secret entrance through the washing machines. But it's hilarious. I think there's like 6 or 8 episodes out so far, but I've only seen 4 so far on Hulu. But it is totally funny. So check out Archer. It's on FX normally, or you can check it out on Hulu, and it doesn't cost you nothing.
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 All right.
All right.
I'll take a look.
Any of you guys watch Amazing Race?
Amazing Race, the reality
Yeah.
show.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched like a bunch of the seasons. Yeah, it's like a competition where they go over it's like a scavenger hunt slash
Yeah.
reality show slash, yeah, totally. I haven't watched it recently, but I used to watch it.
hmm Yeah, but the it's so fun. But there's like the one the team currently in the lead are these Cowboy Brothers,
Uh-huh.
and the most ridiculous. They go, oh my gravy. Instead of oh my god, it's oh my gravy. So it's just they're so funny.
Lame.
Oh,
Yeah, they
no,
probably
no.
came
The
up
thing
with
is,
it.
it is lame, but they're like
Lame humor. Yeah.
you end up liking them because they're just
Uh-huh.
so authentic, you know.
Yeah. Sweet. So let's wrap up this episode where we can find more of your work online. Let's start
Yeah.
with our guest for the week, JL. Where can we
I-
find more of your work online? Like Twitter, website, Facebook, anything you wanna share with our audience to where they can connect with you more online. Have at
Sure.
it.
Basically aheram.com, aheram.com. A lot of my photography is on Flickr, flickr.com/aheram, flickr.com/aheram. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter, same thing, aheram. And if you want to, you can be my fan on Facebook too, facebook.com/JAYEL AHERAM. But I mean, it's on aheram.com, and you can, it's all those other websites are linked from there. And if there's a social network out there, most likely I'm on there as Aheram.
Nice.
I'm consistent. That's the thing. So
Sweet.
and that's it.
Sweet. So Derek, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can find me over at my blog over at derekhelmer.com. That's DEREKHELMER.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/DerekHelmer, all one word. And I'm around here and there. I'm a little bit on Xbox Live, but you can add me if you'd like. I haven't been playing quite so much with school and all, but my Xbox account, Derek Helmer. Imagine such a thing.
Wow.
So there you go. All right.
So confusing you are.
Well, that's me.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. That's right.
All right. Well, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm twitter.com/RayTaylor. You can go and check out all my work at inspireddisorder.com, anywhere from fine art to creative writing to podcasts and all that kind of stuff. You can follow the updates for that website at twitter.com/inspireddisorder. There's no E in disorder, and if I'm ever on Xbox, my gamer tag is Mr. Surrealness.
You can subscribe, comment, download the show. You can also see the show notes and listen to back episodes at inspireddisorder.com/podcast.
If you have any questions or suggestions for us, please email us at inspireddisorderpodcast@gmail.com.
You can listen live every Wednesday night at 11:30 p.m. Pacific at inspireddisorder.com/live.
And you can go to inspireddisorder.com/store for all of your Inspired Disorder and Inspired Disorder podcast merchandise.
Okay, and if you donate $10 or more to the podcast, we'll give you a shout out, or your website a shout out, over at Inspired Disorder, and you'll hear it on the podcast. So very, very cool. Please donate. We like money. In our society, it tends to help.
Yeah.
So feel free.
Exactly. And you can always become a fan of the podcast on Facebook. Just search for Inspired Disorder Podcast. And as always, guys, awesome show tonight. Glad to have you on, JL.
Thank you.
It was a good talk, good discussion. Hopefully we'll be able to get you on again in the future.
Sure.
But yeah, so as always, guys, have a great night.